Missing out. That fucking little bird's still there.
Oh, I need ammo.
Not for long, that RPG is deadly! Yes! Got him from miles away! That was beautiful!
Oh, that was a good victory scream.
RPG for days.
So today, I want to talk to you guys about the upcoming DLC, Dragon's Teeth. But before we jump into that, I just want to tell you guys I will be starting a new short series soon called Ask Matt, and that is because with my Matt's Mailbox series, I get a lot of questions from you guys regarding myself, what got me into YouTube, what got me into gaming, and you guys seem to want to know more about me on a personal level. Now, of course, the Matt's Mailbox series is more related to Battlefield style questions, so I thought I would start a separate series called Ask Matt, where you guys could ask me questions about myself, and hopefully we could get to know each other a little better. So if you want to get your questions answered in the first episode, all you have to do is leave those down in the comment section of this video, and the best questions could win themselves some Steam codes or some G2A codes. So if you want to win some games, leave your questions down below, and of course a like on this video is always appreciated. But anyway, back to today's topic, Dragon's Teeth. This is going to be the second to last DLC we're going to see in Battlefield 4. Now at the moment, we still don't have a confirmed release date. We've been told we could see it in early June, so it's probably about a month away from now from being released. Now this DLC has a lot riding on it. Of course, Battlefield 4 has had a very bumpy road, to say the least, since its release. But recently the game really has been improving, especially with the patches we saw with Naval Strike, and then since then we've seen some smaller patches to improve the game even further. Now of course when Naval Strike was first released, we saw some serious rubber banding issues and lag, especially on the console version of Battlefield 4, but since then the game really has begun to improve, so hopefully this next DLC could really try and bring back some of those players, because I'm very aware, and I think the entire Battlefield community is aware, that a lot of players are starting to stray away from Battlefield now because, you know, there is only so much you can take of a broken game. But of course, as I said, for me at least, on PC, Battlefield 4 really does start to seem like it's improving, so I'm very excited to see how this new DLC is going to take the game forward. So bringing out a hopefully successful and very popular DLC could be very important to strengthen the community and bring back some of those players. So I would say that Dragon's Teeth is probably going to be one of the most important DLCs and events taking place for Battlefield 4. That is of course if we don't see another game-breaking glitch or problems brought in with the patch we will no doubtedly see with the DLC. Now Dragon's Teeth itself is the second to last DLC in the premium calendar, followed up by Final Stand, which should be released late summer, so maybe late August or early September. So relatively, this is a very short premium cycle than we've seen with Battlefield 3, which has got a lot of people thinking we could be seeing another Battlefield game released before the end of the year. So what do we know about Dragon's Teeth already? Well, of course, if we access the Battlefield Premium website, we have a very small description to go on. It says, experience all-out urban warfare on new multiplayer maps taking place in war-torn cities locked down by the Chinese army. So there are a few different things in that description that really stand out. Of course, the first, all-out urban warfare, so it sounds like it's going to be very different from the DLC we got previously, Naval Strike, very large, open, natural environments. And of course, the description of it being war-torn really does remind me of the Aftermath DLC we got with Battlefield 3. Now by the sounds of it, Dragon's Teeth has more than a few similarities with Aftermath. Of course, Aftermath was also the second to last DLC we got in the premium calendar of Battlefield 3, and that also took place in very war-torn cities in urban environments. Now of course, in that DLC, they were more destroyed by earthquakes and natural disasters than just all-out warfare, but the idea of still very decaying and crumbling cities is very similar to what it sounds like we're going to see in the Dragon's Teeth DLC. Now by the sounds of this urban warfare, we could be getting ourselves some infantry combat. Now of course, with the likes of Naval Strike, big open maps with lots of vehicles and aircraft, they weren't really designed for sheer infantry combat. And before that, of course, we had Second Assault, which again was just maps from Battlefield 3, nothing special. And before that, China Rising, well again, that was very large, big open maps, so it would make sense around about now to get some very infantry focused DLC in Battlefield 4. But of course, I could be wrong, we could be getting ourselves a nice balance of the two. If we saw maps very similar to either Grand Bazaar or Sen Crossing, possibly my two favourite maps from Battlefield 3, which Both were set in urban environments, and they managed to balance infantry and urban combat together very well. So if we saw something along the lines of Grand Bazaar or Sen Crossing style maps in Dragon's Teeth, I would be pretty excited. And now the other snippet of information we have that could lead you to believe this is going to be an infantry focused DLC is, of course, we know we're going to be getting ourselves a ballistic shield with Dragon's Teeth. Now this is quite old news now. We first heard about this actually the day I went down to London to play the Naval Strike DLC, so a few months ago now. But of course, if we're getting ourselves a ballistic shield, they're not going to be very useful against enemy tanks or enemy choppers. So they are probably going to be best used against enemy small arms fire, grenades, explosives, so that could sway you to believe this is going to be a very infantry focused DLC. So, looking at this information, it seems like we're going to get ourselves some pretty cool war-torn city environments focused around infantry combat. But which city environments in particular? If you read the description, it describes it as war-torn cities locked down by the Chinese army, which has led a lot of people to believe this is going to be the Chinese army invading the US, and we could get maps like New York, San Francisco, or even Washington DC. But if you actually think about it, these maps could be absolutely anywhere in the world. The Chinese could even be locking down their own cities. If they're preparing for an American invasion, they're locking down their own cities, expecting the Americans to come rumbling through any day. So there isn't actually anything to lead us to believe these are going to be American maps. Now, I would love to see a war-torn New York, Washington, or San Francisco. It'd probably be one of the coolest DLCs we would ever receive, but I just think it's probably too much of a big vision to receive in a single small DLC. It would be something I would love to see in a future Battlefield, maybe a Battlefield 5 game based around the invasion of America, and we saw a more home front style game rather than playing as well-trained Marines. Maybe we could play as just a rebellion of US citizens fighting against a Chinese invasion. That would be really cool to see. But thinking realistically here, I think creating entire American cities might be a little bit too much for a single DLC. But hey ho, I could be proved wrong. I would love to see that in the game. But down in the comments below, I want to hear from you guys. What are you wanting to see with Dragon's Teeth DLC? Now, I've intentionally not talked about weapons. I want to hear from you in the description below. Which 5 weapons would you love to see in Dragon's Teeth? Maybe weapons we've seen in previous Battlefield games that you want to see make a return, or even brand new weapons to the game. Now, I will be doing a video very soon talking about my 5 weapons I want to see in Dragon's Teeth, so I'd love to hear from you down in the comments below. Maybe I will include some of your weapon choices. But that is all we have time for today, guys. I hope you did enjoy this video. As I said, don't forget to leave your questions for Ask Matt down in the comment section below. And of course, if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit like. It really does mean a lot to me, and I do massively appreciate it. But in the meantime, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.